Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Doug Burson, CPA, and I work with small businesses just like yours. In the last few days, I've been getting a lot of questions based on the 8 weeks. They want me to explain it. When did it start? Did it already start? What about my payroll? It doesn't line up right. The 8 weeks started on the Wednesday. My payroll starts next week, and I'm going to be one payroll short. What do I do? Do I need to run an extra payroll? And that was one of our big fears. What if I have to run extra payroll? Well, there's good news. The good news is a lot of that has been fixed, but it may be more complicated than you think, but it's really not that bad. We're going to walk you through that real quick. This may be my shortest video yet, but we're going to take this and just show you real quickly how to look at it and hopefully how to make it easy so that you can rest and know that it's going to be okay. So let's get started on that right now. So when does it start? All right. Well, it's very clear. It starts the day the money goes into your bank account. The technical way they're saying it is the day it was funded. And I had a client the other day that threw me a twist where their bank would not fund it because they were nonprofit, and they mailed them the check. Well, check with your bank. Some of that is going to be underwritten by your bank. So really, if you don't have a relationship with your banker, it's probably a good time to start one, all right? Because they're the ones that are going to underwrite this. But let's keep it simple. The day the money hits your bank account is the day the 8 weeks started. Simple, right? Well, no, it's not. Because now they've added some new things, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually to your advantage, and I want to help you understand what's going on. So there's two terms now. There's the first one, which is what we just talked about, and that's called the covered period. And that is 8 weeks or 56 days. And if you haven't seen our video, we have one on how to calculate it, and we actually have a spreadsheet there to help walk you through. So if you haven't seen that, go check out that video on how to calculate. I'll put a link down to that down below. I think that may help a lot of you. The spreadsheet really does make it simple. So take advantage of that. It's free, it won't cost you anything, and see if that doesn't help you do this, because we want to make sure we take full advantage and get it right. But then they brought out this new thing, and the new thing is really what I want to talk about. It's called the alternate covered period. And one of the things I have concern with is it said those who pay bi-weekly or more frequently. So that's kind of a silly way to write that. I'm hoping they're going to loosen that up a little bit more, because I know some of you just pay monthly. If you're an officer only, pay once a month, and some of those just aren't working out right because a month is 4.33 weeks. So your second payroll may be outside of the 8 week period. However, what they have said is that if your payroll period, and actually let me go back on that. If you're in that scenario and it's outside of the 56 days and you pay monthly, my suggestion, pay yourself early. Don't take a chance. There's language in there that says paid or incurred, but just because you understand that and I understand that, that doesn't mean your banker's going to understand that, especially if it's some guy up in Chicago or New York or LA who doesn't know you from Adam. So if you're in that scenario, just go ahead and make your payroll run a week early. Protect yourself. Don't take a chance on this. But outside of that, this new ruling is going to be wonderful for a lot of you guys who run bi-weekly payroll. So we're not going to have to worry about our 8 weeks not lining up perfectly. What they've said is that for purposes of our alternate period, and this is important, it can start with the pay period that starts after the day of funding. So we don't have flexibility as far as choosing when. We can either do the covered period, which is day of funding, or the payroll period that starts after funding. So if your payroll period starts from Sunday to Saturday, and you got funded today, as an example, which is a Thursday, then you could choose to have your period start with this coming Sunday, right? So the payroll period that starts after your funding and start your 8 weeks there. What that's going to allow you to do is get your 4 payroll periods in and not have a problem. And that's going to be a big relief for a lot of you who've been worried about it because you were just off by a week. It didn't work out right, and you were going to get hosed for 1 payroll period. They fixed it. We hoped they would. We thought they might, and they did. So that is wonderful news. But the thing is, that's only for payroll and payroll-related costs, which, as we already know, is our payroll cost, not processing, but our payroll cost, which is your gross wages, plus your retirement contributions on behalf of your employees, plus your health insurance that was done on behalf of your employees. So that's your payroll cost. That part hasn't changed. But those costs, once you choose the alternate period, those costs also move to the alternate period. And they've put language in there that says paid or incurred. So I think we'll have a little flexibility there. But it also says that you have to have paid it by the next payroll outside of the period. So for safety, because it really is going to come down to your banker and your relationship there, I would try to make sure it was all paid within the 8-week period. That way I don't have to worry about it. Make it clean, simple, tidy, and nice for your banker, and that'll make it easier for you so you don't have to worry about it. But it's important to understand that is only for costs related to payroll. Just because we shifted those, your other costs, your mortgage, interest, your rent, your utilities, those costs are still on the regular covered period, which started when? I can hear you. On the day it was funded, right? So those costs do not shift. They have to stay within the regular 8-week period. So you're going to need to watch those separately. So I know, and that way it's kind of a pain. We got 2 different periods, but this is a big help for a lot of you whose payroll cycle didn't fall right. And I just wanted to share that with you. So I already talked about the fact that there's some language about paid or incurred. I'm going to wait and see what they do with that over the next few weeks before I weigh in too heavily on that. But I know a lot of you are in the situation of that you just couldn't open, right? We have a lot of clients who are bars and restaurants, and they were just closed. They could not open because they had a retail storefront, etc., and they couldn't open. Well, what I'm going to say there is I just don't think you need to make sure you spend all the money, okay? If you couldn't open, don't go spending the money just to spend it for forgiveness, right? This could be a loan that you need to help get through the summer months till hopefully things recover. And if you spend it all out, force things out, and pay just to make sure he gets forgiven, what's going to happen in July and August, and business didn't pick up as fast as you had hoped, and you're now out of money, okay? So don't think you have to spend it all. What you spend the right way will be forgiven, but make smart business decisions. I think you're going to look back and think, man, I'm glad I didn't spend that all, because either, hey, if you didn't spend it and you didn't need it, no harm, no foul. You can just pay it back. You got a 6-month deferment, and then if it has to turn into a loan, it's 1% for 2 years. And you may need that money this summer to keep your business alive. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I want us to be thinking smart, not just being afraid of forgiveness. If you don't need it, let's save it. It's a line of credit, and if you do need it, it's going to keep your business alive. So I really felt that was important to share. At least that's how I'm thinking about it, and I want you guys to at least consider the concept. So that's all I got. If you find this was helpful, once again, subscribe. I'm going to give you more information as it becomes real information, not just, oh, I think they're going to do this or that, or somebody on Congress said something crazy, so let's pretend it's real. Let's stick with what we know and try to make wise decisions. So you guys have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Spend time with your families, and we'll see you again here hopefully next week.